Welcome, this is Moshe Otero, To the Point. And with us, Rabbi Joseph Korf. I give you, Rabbi, something that is something tangible and to the point right now. I received, through a friend in Israel, who lives in Israel, a document that came out showing that a religious group in Israel helped support the PLO in giving many hundreds of thousands of dollars in support of their activity. I think it was called the Neturah Karta,
right,
and other groups as well. What do you say about them? How are they supporting or not supporting the Jewish community in Israel?
Well,
and as a rabbi, how do you deal with the morality of all this?
Regarding this issue, it can be very direct and very clear.
To the point.
To the point, exactly. These individuals, the Neturah Karta, are, as far as I'm concerned, and I believe halachically correct, are what we would consider musrim, a musr. A musr or musrim are what we are in English what you would translate as informers. If you look in the Rambam, and as well as all other halachic compendiums, it is clearly stated that a musr, one who informs on Jews, slanders on Jews, supports the enemies of Jews, are considered to be the worst of the worst. To the extent that halachically, if necessary, it is permissible to even to destroy such individuals. I'm not going to even go into the halachic ramifications of whether it is permitted to do so without a bet din, without a clear halachic decision. I'm talking only theoretically now. I'm not advocating, and I'm clearly stating that nobody should ever take the law into their own hands.
So you're not advocating it should be eliminated off the face of Israel?
I'm not advocating that because we must follow the laws of the land. Laws of the land do not allow for such things, and therefore you have to follow the laws, and we don't advocate anybody to eliminate anybody. But theoretically speaking, these are individuals who are no doubt causing both the destruction of Israel and the destruction, most importantly, of the Jews who are living in Israel. For those who cause the destruction, actively and directly cause the destruction of other Jews, they deserve to be destroyed. These are individuals who are the worst of the worst. As far as I'm concerned, and as far as most religious rabbis, contrary to what they claim, that religion and halacha advocates the destruction of Zionism or the land of Israel, or the government of Israel, they are the worst of the worst. They are going against halacha, and the most important reason they are going against halacha is because they're putting into danger Jews who are living in Israel. It is not their right to do so. You may not agree with the government of Israel. I definitely don't agree most of the times with the government of Israel. You may not agree with many decisions made there or with many individuals there. But the one thing you must always remember as a Jew is that they're Jewish. No matter what they are, no matter what they do, who they are, and the decisions they make. And especially their decisions affect millions of other Jews. For you to go and give aid and comfort and support and even money to the enemy that is actively seeking out the destruction of the Jewish people is the worst sin that any Jew can commit. There are many laws in halacha that deal with this issue. So important is that even if, for example, you have an enemy besieging a Jewish community, and they say to the community, we will leave you alone if you give us this one Jew. Even if it was a wicked Jew. That community has no right to do so. They cannot deliver a Jew into the hands of the enemies of the Jewish people. Here you have individuals actively seeking the destruction of Jewish people. Doing it on Shabbos even. In Washington, D.C., they did this a few years ago, on Shabbos at a PLO rally, right after an incredibly huge rally that took place in support of Israel, which I was at in Washington, D.C. They went, and it was on C-SPAN, on Shabbos, standing on a stage with Arabs and PLO supporters and Muslims, talking in microphones on Shabbos with their talis, with their talesim on, with their streimels on and so on. These are the biggest sinners. These are the ones who are causing the greatest desecration of God's name. I would have no part of them, and I would advise no Jew religious or non-religious, to have anything to do with them whatsoever.
Rabbi,
They are outside of the pale as far as I'm concerned.
the Otero Karta, it's a major group of religious
Not at
Jews?
all. Not at all. It's a very small fringe group.
Then why doesn't the whole rabbinical group in Israel deal with them at face value?
Again,
an issue.
They do. They deal with them in a theoretical and halachic and ways that they can. But you have to again remember that the rabbinical courts don't have enforcement capabilities. The government of Israel is still run by secular courts. The secular courts, for some reason, are not willing to deal with them because, assumedly, you're talking about a democratic country, which affords differences of opinion. Although, interestingly, when it came to those who were supporting Gush Katif or supporting settlers, there suddenly you had the army called out to get rid of them. But you have these disgusting individuals who are willing to support PLO and support the enemies of Israel, and for some reason they're getting away with their garbage, quite frankly.
So why doesn't the religious empower themselves and take over parts of governments? Like you see that's taking place in other parts.
Well, first of all, that is there. There's quite a few religious individuals, members of Knesset and in the parliament in Israel. But that too is quite frankly a problem.
Why?
I will tell you like this. Chabad, for example.
Very powerful.
Lubavitch, the Rebbe. Lubavitch has perhaps probably the one largest, most powerful religious organization in Israel. And yet, as much power as the Rebbe had in Israel, or Lubavitch has in Israel, the Rebbe never allowed Lubavitch emissaries or rabbis to sit in the Knesset.
Why?
This goes to your original question. And the Rebbe is unique in this, because all other Hasidic organizations and Jewish and religious parties or affiliations do have representatives sitting in the Knesset. Lubavitch could have gained tremendous power if they would have ran on tickets to be sitting in the Knesset, but yet they never did. And the reason basically is because the Rebbe, quite frankly, is a smart man. And the Rebbe bases his decisions on halacha and Torah. And the Rebbe knows that the Torah tells us that when you are put in a position of power, in a position where you're handling a lot of money, power corrupts. I don't know, what do I think it was a Winston Churchill saying? Mm-hmm. Power corrupts, ultimate power corrupts ultimately, absolutely, something like that. So the Rebbe knows the weaknesses of the human being. And he didn't want to put individuals in that position to ever have to make decisions where it would go against halacha based on promises of a secular government that we will give you money for your yeshivot or for your institutions and so on and so forth. Because when you get into money, this is the worst problem that we have sometimes. And therefore you have many religious organizations who know better, who know much more, should be deciding things a lot differently in Israel, but they don't because of that lure of money and power. No doubt for their yeshivot, for their holy institutions, but it's that money which is promised to them, which gives them more power, which allows them to make decisions not based on halacha, based on secular ideas, and to go along with the secular government against the interest of the Jewish people, against halacha, and against what Torah designed.
Rabbi, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you.
To the point. If you have any questions, call us right now. The telephone's right there on the screen. Call that number. Send us an email. Let us know what you think about this program. My name is Moshe Otero, and we're here to the point.